Yes, people, what's happening? Welcome back to Chelsea Fan TV and welcome to another edition of Player Ratings. First things first, guys, make sure you smash the likes, subscribe if you're new around here, and as always, leave your thoughts in the comments below. And heading into the international break, Chelsea were unable to get 3 points with a disappointing draw against Crystal Palace. Eze cancelling out Nicholas Jackson's opener. Classic game of two halves. Chelsea really good in the first half, brilliant counter-attacking goal, lovely team move. Couldn't, hammer home the advantage we had in that first half by getting a second or third goal. And ultimately, we paid the price in the second half and we dropped off slightly. Palace did a job on us, made it really hard for us to break them down. And more dropped points, which is not ideal. 4 points from the first 3 games heading into the break, and work to be done afterwards for sure. But let's dive into the ratings. Obviously, just the one change from the game against Wolves. Obviously, multiple changes from the defeat to Servette, but just one change from the game against Wolves with Neto replacing Mikhailo Mudryk. And let's dive into the ratings, guys. Then starting with Robert Sanchez in goal. Do you know what? Sanchez was actually all right, to be fair. I think he made a pretty decent save from Adam Wharton in that first half. There was nothing that he could do about Eze's strike in that second half, but there was a little one near the end where I think it was a strike from Kamada, possibly, where he almost let that one slip through his hands. But do you know what? Nothing amazing from Sanchez, but nothing particularly shit either. Yes, distribution at times still not very good, but this was all right from Sanchez, in fairness. I'll probably give him a 6 out of 10 for this one. Moving on to the back four then. And do you know what? Just on defence in general, I thought we defended really well yesterday. A big improvement. Yes, we failed to clear our lines from a set piece, which led to the Eze goal. But actually, as a defensive unit and as individuals, I thought we performed pretty well. Let's start with Malo Gusto. Obviously, disappointment that he had to go off, pulled up with a worrying injury, looked like maybe a hamstring issue. There's been no clarification on what that is yet or how long he might be out for. Hopefully, it's not too serious because that could be a big blow. But I thought it was really bright, particularly in that first half. And, he's again showing signs that once again, he's fast becoming one of our most reliable players. And, of course, we missed Reece James. And of course, we can't wait for Reece to be back. But the biggest thing we can say about Gusto is it doesn't make us miss Reece James. It doesn't make us think about, oh, God, when's James coming back? Because Gusto's been such a reliable performer and such a top performer for us. I thought this was really good from him yesterday. I thought it was a really bright, solid performance. I'm going to give him a 7.5 out of 10. Moving on to Fofana then. I'd say this was probably his best game of the season. It's great to see him, getting back up to speed more every week that goes by, obviously after missing the whole season with an ACL injury last season. And it looks like, he's starting to develop a promising partnership with Colwell. This was probably the pair's best game together. Fofana, front foot defending well, bringing the ball forward, getting some great tackles in and whatnot. This was encouraging from him. So I'm going to give him a 7 out of 10 for this one. Moving on to Colwell then. Big season for him, obviously. It was reported that apparently Chelsea had turned down an approach from a big club for him this summer, and they're really pleased with his start to the season. And this was a promising performance from him. Obviously, had a big battle against Mateta, physical guy. But let's be honest, he kind of dominated Mateta, and Mateta, who's been in good form, didn't really have much of a sniff in at all. He obviously set up the goal as well when he stepped in, won a challenge before playing the ball out to Madueke, who then obviously burst away, passed it to Palmer, obviously converted to Nicholas Jackson. This was good from Colwell and possibly arguably his best performance of the season as well. So same as Gusto, I'm going to give Colwell a 7.5 out of 10. Moving on to Marc Cucurella then. The Spaniard obviously back in. I think he was receiving a bit of rough treatment from the Palace fans, obviously because of his Brighton connections. And I thought he performed reasonably well, Cucurella, getting stuck in, winning the ball back in midfield when he inverted in there, defended reasonably well in one-on-one situations. And he's obviously once again rewarding Maresca's faith in him. And he's obviously Chelsea's first choice left back. And that is going to be the case for this season and hopefully beyond. But this was a solid performance from Cucurella. I'd probably give him a 7 out of 10 as well. And I don't want people to think that I'm like overrating these players, but actually I know people just look at the result. But in terms of individual performances, the back line performed really well, in my opinion. Moving into the midfield then. We had Moises Caicedo, Enzo Fernandez in, and let's start with Caicedo. What I would say is, to begin with, the midfield is still too easy, far too easy to play through at times. And we massively, massively miss Romeo Lavia. I think we miss Romeo Lavia more than any of us would have expected. Too easy to play through still on occasion. But Caicedo broke up play well, had a couple of nice moments here and there. Nothing spectacular, but nothing dreadful either. I'd give him a 6 out of 10 for his performance. Moving on to Enzo Fernandez, and obviously he spent most of the time in the second half playing as a centre back, pretty much, which I found a little bit strange. But he was nice on the ball. He was nice in possession, but he does, unfortunately, seems to lack that athleticism, particularly in defensive situations. And Palace had a lot of joy on the break, and Enzo just wasn't able to get back. And I think that's a number of reasons. One reason why we were sort of overrun and easy to play for in midfield, Enzo just wasn't able to get back on enough occasions, which is something that maybe teams might look to take advantage of. But again, maybe it won't happen as much when they've got Lavia in the side as well. But then I don't think all three of them are going to play. So it's going to be an interesting situation to see how he uses Enzo Fernandez once Romeo Lavia is back. But this was okay from Enzo. It wasn't great, but it wasn't dreadful. I'd probably just give him an average 5 out of 10 for his performance. And yeah, needs to do better, of course, like a lot of players still do. Moving on to Madueke then. In the side again, continuing on from his hat-trick against Wolves, he did miss a couple of pretty good opportunities. I can't lie. If he'd taken one of those, it could have been a totally different game. But when he's running at pace, he's really exciting to watch. Kind of gets you off your seat, and he's really pushed on and developed a lot as a player from the back end of last season to the start of this one. Obviously rewarded with a call up to the England squad as well. And he played an important role in Jackson's goal as well. But unfortunately, like many others, he did also fade in the second half, which is perhaps a small concern. But I'd probably give him a 7 out of 10. I thought Noni was really good. But as I said, faded in the second half, unfortunately. Moving on to Cole Palmer then. Obviously, he paraded that PFA Young Player of the Year trophy before kickoff, much to the delight of the fans. And again, he's still, despite all the attacking talent we've signed, he is still at the heart of everything that Chelsea do, and he's got so much class. Playing centrally, I think, definitely brings the best out of him. And he added another assist to his game as well. Another assist. What's that? His 4th assist in 2 Premier League games. But second half, he did become quite frustrated. And his impact did fade as that second half went on. But he was still good. I still liked what I saw from Palmer. I'll probably go 7.5 out of 10 for him as well. Moving on to Pedro Neto, his first Premier League start, full Premier League debut. He was quite quiet, I felt. Quite quiet. He showed some exciting signs. He stretched the game nicely on the left on a couple of occasions in that first half. He lacks his final ball was lacking quality, which is something that needs to improve on. Not just him, but a number of other Chelsea attackers as well. I didn't feel he got the ball out to him enough, and there was no surprise really that he was the first player to be subbed off just before the hour mark with João Felix replacing him. So Neto, not awful, wasn't in the game that much. Probably give him a 6 out of 10, to be perfectly honest. Moving on to Nicholas Jackson then. Obviously, before the game, it was reported that terms have been agreed on a 2-year contract extension, similar to that of Cole Palmer, rewarded for, a promising first season. And, of course, there was all the talk about Chelsea needing to sign a striker. I still think we should have done. Everyone knows that. But Jackson's not started the season badly. I think he's got, 2 goals and an assist in the first 3 league games. Not exactly bad, but he did miss a couple of big chances, particularly in injury time when he was one-on-one with Henderson. Probably should have done better there. But again, it's promising. His all-round play is good. He creates a lot of chances for the team. I thought this was promising from Jackson, but yeah, there's still a lot of pressure on him. And I think Chelsea are asking too much of a player for his age and for his experience. So yeah, I thought he was good, took the goal well. I mean, obviously couldn't really miss, but it was a lovely team move that he capped off. He works hard, but yeah, still needs to improve on that finishing. But for me, I would be giving Nicholas Jackson a 7 out of 10 for that performance. Moving on to the subs then. Obviously, not many played an awful lot. I mean, João Felix, he came on. he came on and he played wide to begin with, which definitely didn't work. Maresca tried that for about 10 minutes, and then brought on Mykhailo Mudryk. And shifted Felix inside. But Palace dealt with Felix very easily. His tendency is to always come inside, but it was very congested in there. And that meant that Palace were easily able to cope with whatever threat he was trying to offer up. And Felix is not a winger, particularly against a low block side. I don't think that really works. And it's going to be interesting to see how Maresca does deploy him. Mudryk, he looks exciting when he gets the ball, but again, he kind of struggled to make an impact in the game as well. And then obviously Nkunku came on for about 4 minutes and he played right wing, which I didn't really understand. So from that point of view, it was a little bit odd. I thought the tactics in the second half were a bit strange from kind of how we set up. Enzo playing centre-back and Nkunku right wing. Palmer basically playing as a single pivot in the midfield. I'm not really sure what was going on there, but it is what it is. Drop points against Palace, not ideal. We go again. They've got Bournemouth and West Ham away after the international break. 2 tough games. And we need to start picking up some wins again. So, yeah, guys, that's my thoughts on the game. That is the player ratings. As I said, smash the like, subscribe if you're new around here, and let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And we'll catch you again in another episode soon. Up the Chelsea.